Chapter 17, 24 Hours in Nowhere, 7 o'clock a.m. Ape lollipop, said Jessie. Astronaut legs, said Matthew. Anteater legs, said Jessie. Apple lemons, said Matthew. Jessie stopped and stared at Matthew. Apple lemons? That's not even a thing. Oh, and ape lollipops are, Matthew said. How about annoying Latinos? Jessie glared at Matthew. How about agitated Latinos? Agitated, feeling or appearing troubled or nervous. I smiled at Jessie. Nice man, but it's none of those things. Obviously, and it has a nose. Annoying Latinos have noses, said Matthew. This annoying Latino is about to punch your nose, said Jessie. I mean agitated Latino. Then Jessie jumped up and down, raising his hand like we were in school. Oh, I know. Andy Letterman. We all snickered. Andy Letterman was one of the richest kids in Nowhere. He lived in a double-wide trailer and wore clothes from Target. He was a total snob about it, too. Like he was so much better than everyone else because his shirts cost 2 for $10 instead of 10 for $2. I bet we'll find him just standing there in one of his fancy t-shirts looking down his nose at us, Jessie said. Then he frowned. That would be really disappointing. Rossi studied the map and turned around in a circle. This map is hard to read, and it's so dark in here. I stood beside her and stared at the map. I nodded and squinted my eyes, like I was working something out, when really I was working nothing out. It looked mostly like a bunch of squiggly lines to me. Why don't you just use your Indian sense, Rossi? Matthew asked. Rossi dropped the map and narrowed her eyes at him. My Indian sense? Yeah, you know, Matthew said. Like how you guys are all one with nature and the spirit world and all that. You know things that regular people don't? Regular people? Rossi asked. Yes, said Matthew. It's like how animals can sense things. Or babies. It's like how animals can sense babies, said Rossi. No, it's like how animals and babies can sense things, like ghosts and stuff. Indians are like that, too. Oh, yes, Rossi nodded her head. My Indian sense. Wait a moment. I think my Indian sense is telling me something right now. She closed her eyes and pointed both fingers at her temples, the map in one hand. Yes, thank you, wise Indian sense. She opened her eyes and looked at Matthew. My Indian sense has just informed me that you stole wet the bed. Jessie and I both giggled, but Matthew's mouth dropped open. It did not. Rossi held up a hand. Do not argue with wise Indian sense. Why would you think such a stupid thing anyway, Jessie said. Matthew looked at the ground and kicked at a rock. I don't know. The movies? You need to watch better movies, Rossi said. Matthew sulked while Rossi continued studying the map. I think the petroglyphs are this way, she said. As we worked on climbing over a large slanted boulder, Matthew said, So, Rossi, you never did tell us about your worst day. Rossi pursed her lips, concentration on her face, as she clung to the side of the boulder. You don't have to, I told her. We slid down the boulder, then walked quietly for a few minutes before Rossi finally said, I lived on the reservation until last year. My mom died when I was 4, so my dad mostly raised me. We didn't have much, but that was okay. Back then he spent a lot more time with me. He taught me how to ride a dirt bike, taught me how to fix a dirt bike, taught me everything I know about them. He was a great rider, and wanted me to be just like him. She laughed. He even started a Tohono O'odham chapter of this National Motorcycle Club for Indians. Riders would come from all over for our powwows. It was so much fun. Rossi cleared her throat. And he always called me his little Rossi. She glanced at Matthew. Because Rossi is the best. Matthew smiled at her. I think so, too. She cleared her throat. Anyway, he said that he and I were going to go on a great adventure on motorcycles, that he would make it all the way to Baja. Then one day a boy we knew, a friend of mine, got thrown into the center. He didn't even do anything all that bad. He didn't hurt anybody, not like Bo does. He's actually really nice. He just had some tough stuff going on in his life that he tried to get away from. I don't understand why he's being punished so harshly. I know, Jessie said. For the same reason we have to plan for an extra hour of travel every time we come back from visiting my aunt in Bisbee. Why, I asked him. Jessie shook his head at me. Border Patrol, Gus. They search our car and make us show proof that we're citizens every single time. My dad gets stopped a lot too, Rossi said. I've heard him gripe about it, making him wait for work. Jessie snorted. They probably won't even tell the difference, he said, his voice tight and angry. Not all like he usually sounded. All they see is a brown person in a junky car. I swallowed. What could I say to that? Nothing. There was nothing I could say. We kept walking. My dad was so angry when that happened, I'd never seen him so angry. The next day he went down and registered at the college for the social work program. Rossi cleared her throat. After he took the job at the center, he sold his bike to pay the deposit on our apartment in Casa Grande. So that was the end of that. No more riding together, no more motorcycle club, no more powwows. It was like he stopped caring about anything and anyone but those boys. Then all it took was our car breaking down once, and we couldn't make our rent. After a few months, we ended up here. The day we moved here, to this town, I gave up hope of ever going back. That day, that's my worst day. She stopped and looked over the map for a moment. I miss my home. I miss my friends. She squeezed her eyes shut. I hate it here, she added in a whisper. We followed her quietly for a while, all of us lost in thought. I wanted to understand what Rossi and Jessie were talking about. Wanted to see the world through their eyes, but I had a feeling I never could. I looked at Rossi walking beside me, checking the map every now and then. I'm sorry your mom died, I said. She shrugged a little. I can hardly remember her. I think I was too young to fully understand what it meant. That she was really gone forever. And I hate that I can't remember her better. The only things I really remember," she trailed off. "What?" I asked. Rossi cleared her throat. "I remember we used to play Toka together." "What's that?" Matthew asked. "It's an Odom game." Rossi raised an eyebrow. "For girls only. Sorry, guys." I laughed. "How do you play?" "It's like field hockey," Rossi said, "but not. It has more meaning. I remember being the youngest girl in the field. The other women said I was too young, but my mother told them not to underestimate me, that I was deceptively strong, and there was this one older girl who kept trampling all over me. I told her to lay off, but she wouldn't stop. She was just a bully picking on someone smaller than she was. I've seen them my whole life. Finally, I hit her with my Usaga so hard she rolled in the dirt. She left me alone after that." "What's a new Usaga?" I asked. "It's a mesquite branch. All the playing pieces come from the desert," Rossi smiled. "And I remember the song we used to sing before a game." She hummed a few notes. "I remember how our house smelled, like creosote oil and fresh bread, and saguaro fruit jam cooking on the stove. Now my house smells like no one lives there at all." She stared at the map and swallowed. "Anyway, that's what I remember. I love the smell of creosote when it rains," I told her. "Sometimes I'll pick a piece of it and carry it around with me so I can sniff it every now and then. It makes me feel like it could rain." She didn't look at me, just kept staring at the map, but I saw her smile just a little bit. "How come the guys don't play Toka?" Matthew griped. "The girls worried they'll lose?" Rossi's smile broadened. "They would absolutely crush you, Matthew. Kind of like I do at racing." Jesse threw his hand over his mouth and pointed at Matthew. "Oh, she got you." Suddenly I saw something familiar behind Jesse. "Hey, I think I've seen those rocks. They look like a snowman. And that one over there looks like a stack of tires. We've definitely been here. I think the petroglyphs are this way." I kept looking for familiar rocks until a couple of bats flew over our heads. "Okay," Rossi said, her voice unsteady. "We must be going the right way." Then she ran ahead of us a bit. "Here," she called. "They're here." "Wait, Rossi," I cried, but it was too late. I was down, the rocks tearing the skin on my hands as I tried to brace myself. Matthew and Jesse helped me up, and we joined her at the petroglyphs, stumbling over the rocks with the limited weight. "You can't run off with the light," I told her. "Sorry, Gus," she murmured, completely focused on the wall. She pointed at the arrow. "So we should go in this direction, I think." I followed her for a few minutes until we made it to a dead end in a small room in the cave. "We'd better turn around," I said. "We must have missed something." Then one wall of the room caught my eye, and I stood there, shining the flashlight on it, mesmerized. "That's really weird," Matthew said, standing beside me. "Hey," Jesse said, "it looks like a dude." He walked toward the wall. "Like a face." "It looks like," Rossi said, shining the flashlight on it. We all tilted our heads a little to the side and said in unison, "Abraham Lincoln." "Look," I outlined it with my finger. "There's his beard, his top hat. There are even two holes where his nose is. There must be something in one of those nostrils." Matthew nudged Jesse forward. "Go stick your fingers in his nose." Jesse's head shot back. "No way, you stick your fingers in Abraham Lincoln's nose." "No, you," Matthew said. "Come on, you know you want to. Pick it." "You pick it." "Pick it, pick it, pick it," said Matthew while Jesse repeatedly told him no. "Maybe Gus should pick it," Jesse finally said. "I'm not tall enough to reach in there," I said. "How about you guys choose a number between 1 and 10? "1," said Matthew. "10," said Jesse. "Jesse gets to pick the nose," I said. Jesse groaned as he hesitantly slipped his hand into the hole. He yelped and pulled it back out. "There's something in there." "Maybe it's a giant booger," Matthew said, laughing. "Just reach in and pull it out," I told him. Jesse reached in again and then quickly pulled his hand out, a dirty, holey cowboy hat in his hands. We all looked at one another excitedly. "Is there anything else in there?" I asked. Jesse threw the hat down and reached his hand back into the hole. He grunted as he stretched as far as he could go. "I think so," he said. He finally pulled his arm out, a small wooden box in his hand. "Whoa," Matthew said. Jesse ran his fingers over the initials engraved on the box. W.A.D. Just like the watch. Jesse unclasped the box and opened it. "No," I breathed. It was empty. "I knew it," Jesse said. "I knew we shouldn't have come here." "We still haven't checked the other hole," I said hopefully. Jesse handed Matthew the box and reached his arm into the other hole. His eyes clenched shut. "There's something in this one, too." He grunted as he pulled his arm out, a wadded up cloth in his hand. "It's heavy," he said as he unraveled it. Jesse let out a huge squeaky breath as he saw what was under it. An old pistol. "Oh my gosh," he said in shaky whisper, his hands trembling. We stepped back instinctively. "Jesse," I said as the pistol started sliding from the cloth. "Be careful. You don't want to." But then he dropped the gun and a loud explosion filled the cave.